Hello students, welcome to the engineering geology subject classes. Today we will start with the third type of rock, that is a metamorphic rock. So what is meaning of metamorphic? So these are the new rocks which are formed from the alteration of pre-existing rock. So here the pre-existing rock may be igneous rock, it may be a sedimentary rock, or it may be a metamorphic rock. So any type of rock when it undergoes changes by the process called metamorphism and the new rock is formed, that is called as a metamorphic rock. So the word metamorphism means what? The change of the form. So here the word meta stands for change and the morph means the form. So here the change in the form of the rock takes place and the new rock which is formed, that is called as the metamorphic rock. So what is mean by metamorphism? So it is a process, it is a natural process which is responsible for all the changes which take place in an original rock, that is it may be a pre-existing rock, that is igneous, sedimentary, or even a metamorphic rock, again further undergoes metamorphism. So the changes which take place in the original rock under the influence of changes in the surrounding conditions of temperature, pressure, and chemically active fluids. So this is very important. How these metamorphic changes will take place? That is because of the effect of temperature, pressure, and the chemically active fluids which are there deep inside the earth. So these metamorphic rocks are formed deep inside the earth by the effect of temperature, pressure, and chemically active fluids on the pre-existing rock. So here I would like to we'll see first the agents of metamorphism, that is the temperature, pressure, and chemically active fluid. So these are the three factors, three very important factors that are responsible for the process called metamorphism. So these three factors they set a change, physical or a chemical change in the mineral assemblages which are present in the pre-existing rock. And these agents, they results to establish a new equilibrium in the rock. So we'll see one by one what are the different agents in detail. So first we will discuss about the temperature. Okay, so what is that temperature? So this temperature is governed by three important factors. Okay, so from where this temperature comes? Okay, so the first is because of the internal heat of the earth. The first temperature factor, that is internal heat of the earth. So which is due to the geothermal gradient, that is what as you go down deeper into the earth, the temperature increases with the depth. So that is the internal heat of the earth, or it is called as heat due to geothermal gradient. So this is the first factor by which the temperature is governed. Then the second factor is the magmatic heat. Magmatic heat. So what is that magmatic heat? So this is governed by the heat which is liberated by the igneous intrusions or the volcanism. Okay, so the heat or the temperature which is associated with the magma, that is one more source for the temperature. Then the third factor is the temperature due to the radioactive heat. The temperature due to radioactive heat. So this heat is due to the heavy elements, like we know the uranium 238, right? So this is an isotope. So such elements are present, the radioactive elements are present deep inside the earth, and they liberate the heat. So the temperature due to radioactive elements, or the radioactive heat due to the heavy elements like uranium 238. So these are the three factors which govern the temperature, and it is believed that most of the metamorphic changes, they take place within 350 to 850 degrees centigrade. That is the temperature, the range of temperature in which the rock undergoes changes, and it will show the change in the form of the rock. So that is 350 to 850 degrees centigrade is the temperature. So in any case, whether it may be a source, the heat is a very effective agent of metamorphism. Beside producing its direct action, it greatly increases the solvent action of the fluids or the solutions which are acting, which promotes the formation of new minerals. So this temperature plays a very important role in bringing out the changes in the rock. Then next we'll see the pressure. About the pressure we will discuss. So this is one more again important agent of metamorphism, which again brings the widespread changes with the association of these chemically active fluids, and with or without much heat. So pressure alone plus associated with temperature as well as the chemically active fluid, it will bring the changes. So many metamorphic changes, they are induced solely because of the pressure factor. And in any given rock within the earth's crust, it is subjected to pressure from two sources. There are two sources for the pressure. Okay, any rock which is undergoing changes because of the pressure, there are two sources for that pressure. One is because of the load of the overlying material. So suppose these are the rocks which are undergoing the changes, and we know on the top there are again different rocks present. So the first source of pressure, right, it will impose pressure at the bottom, right? So because of the load of these overlying rocks, okay, or the overlying material, that causes pressure to act at the bottom. So this is the first source, that is because of the load of the overlying material. And the second is because of the crustal disturbance during the orogenic, or it is also called as mountain building activities. So the second source is because of the crustal disturbance. So there will be disturbance in the crust, okay, that is because of the mountain building activities or tectonic activities which are happening on the earth. So that will again create pressure on the rocks. Okay, so these are the two sources of the pressure which will bring out the changes in the pre-existing rock. So if you compare these two, the first type of pressure that acts vertically in all direction, the first type of pressure, that is the pressure due to load of the overlying material, that acts vertically in all directions, and this leads to change in the volume. This leads to change in the volume of the rock. And whereas the pressure from the second source, that is because of the crustal disturbance or mountain building activities, that acts horizontally, that is a lateral or horizontal, and this is termed as the directed pressure or the stress, which leads to change in the shape or distortion in the rocks or the minerals which are present in the rock. So these are the two sources for pressure. One is because of the load of the overlying material, and other one is because of the crustal disturbance. Next, we'll discuss about the third agent of metamorphism, that is chemically active fluids. So what are these chemically active fluids? The presence or absence of chemically active fluids beneath the surface of the earth is regarded as playing a most important role in the process of metamorphism. So usually these chemically active fluids will be active with the help of temperature and pressure. They bring the changes into the rock. So in the vicinity of magma in particular, and in many other rocks also, certain kind of liquids and gases, they are present and they are entrapped within the pores of the rock. So these gases and liquids are trapped in between the rocks or the pores of the rocks, and they may be flowing in the cracks or the crevices which are present. Suppose this is a rock which is having the cracks in it. So these chemically active fluids, what they do, they try to flow into these cracks, and water is very important fluid which may be present in the liquid or the vapor phase, and this liquid or the water helps the minerals to activate. So at a very high temperature, the water which becomes chemically active, and as a solvent of nearly all the rock forming minerals, which help in recrystallization of the rock minerals. So the minerals which are present in the rock, they start recrystallizing because of the water which is chemically active, because of the minerals which are dissolved in it. And some gases also will be active, like carbon dioxide or hydrofluoric acid or bromine, fluorine. All these different type of gases are also present, and they are also responsible for many important changes in the rocks during the process called metamorphism. So these are the three agents of metamorphism, and I told you what are the sources for that, how they are active. Okay, so this is a very important question which is asked often in the exam. So write a note on agents of metamorphism. So there are three agents of metamorphism: temperature, pressure, and chemically active fluids, which bring about the changes in the rock. Then we'll discuss the different types of metamorphism, types or kinds of metamorphism, one and the same. So what are the different types of metamorphism? So the types are decided depending upon which of these three agents, that is temperature, pressure, and chemically active fluid, which one is dominating in a particular metamorphic change. And the metamorphism may be divided into the following types. Like the first one, we'll see when the temperature is more dominant. Okay, what are the different metamorphisms takes place when the temperature is the dominating factor? So the first type of metamorphism is thermal metamorphism. So as the name indicates, thermal is related to heat or temperature. So all those metamorphic processes in which the heat is the chief agent of metamorphism, and pressure and chemically active fluids, they play a secondary role and are included under the term called thermal metamorphism. So what is thermal metamorphism? All those metamorphic processes in which the temperature is the chief agent of metamorphism and the pressure and chemically active fluids, they play a secondary role. So such changes, they are included under the thermal metamorphism. So it includes the pyrometamorphism and the contact metamorphism. So what is that pyrometamorphism? We'll see. Pyro is related to heating. So this includes the intense or localized changes which are produced at very high temperature without actual fusion, which is acting under dry conditions. So a part of country rock, country rock is nothing but the rocks in which the metamorphism is active. Okay, so the surrounding rock or the country rock. Okay, so the pyrometamorphism is what? It includes the localized changes which are produced at a high temperature without actual fusion, and they are acting under dry conditions. So what happens in pyrometamorphism? A part of the country rock may actually get entrapped within the magmatic body. Suppose this is the magma chamber. Okay, and here is the magma. So what happens in pyrometamorphism? A part of the country rock may actually get entrapped. So the some part of the country rock, this is the country rock, okay, that gets entrapped within the magmatic body, and a burning or a baking effect may be observed, or it may be produced on the rocks which are surrounding, and the the original minerals which are present in the rock, they are forced to recrystallize and rearrange themselves in accordance with the conditions which are imposed by the effect of rise in the temperature. So because of the heat which is, or heat or temperature which is increasing, it will force the original minerals which are present in the rock to recrystallize or rearrange themselves in accordance with the conditions which are imposed by the rise or increase in the temperature. So that is called as pyrometamorphism. Then what is mean by contact metamorphism? So contact metamorphism is this occurs adjacent to the igneous intrusion. Suppose this is an area, okay, and here at the center, suppose there is a igneous intrusion, okay, igneous intrusion. So there is a magma here. Igneous intrusion means the magma has intruded into this part, okay, and the surrounding rock, this rock shows the metamorphic effect, okay, and this portion which is not in contact with the magmatic intrusion, okay, they are unmetamorphosed rocks. So these are unmetamorphosed rocks, and these are the metamorphic rocks, okay, and this portion which is in contact with the magma, that this portion is called as the magmatic aureoles. So this occurs, the contact metamorphism occurs adjacent to the igneous intrusion, and this results from high temperature which is associated with the igneous intrusion. So what happens? This is caused due to local heating of the rock by the intrusion of hot igneous bodies or the magma, and nearby and in the region which is around the igneous body, within which such metamorphism is in operation, that is called as the contact aureole. So this portion which is in contact with the magmatic intrusion, that is called as magmatic aureole. So this takes place at a low temperature compared to the pyrometamorphism. The temperature will be lower and the mineral transformations are facilitated by abundance of rock moisture added by the magmatic emanations. So as the temperature decreases away from the intrusion, so here near to the intrusion the temperature will be more, and it goes on decreasing away from that magmatic intrusion. So the outer rocks which are there in the aureoles, they are less metamorphosed, and the rocks which are here, which are very near to the igneous intrusion, they show more effect, and these rocks which are at a distance, they show the less effect of metamorphism. The outer rocks in the aureoles, they are less metamorphosed than that of the innermost rocks. So in this type of metamorphism, there is a little or very less change or no change in the composition of the rock. Only the rocks show some physical changes. There is no change in the chemical or bulk composition of the rock. So these are the different types of metamorphism which are due to the temperature. Next, we'll discuss the pressure factor is more dominating. So all those metamorphic changes in which the dynamic or the high pressure which is caused by the earth's movement, that is crustal movement, that is dominating agent of metamorphism, and the two agents, that is the temperature and chemically active fluids, they play a secondary role. Only pressure is dominating factor. So it results from the crushing or granulation of the minerals and the rocks because of the application of the stress or pressure under the load and small load and at the low temperature. So here we observe little or no formation of new minerals, only there will be physical changes in the rock. So when only static pressure due to overburden is dominating, what happens? This type of metamorphism is responsible for the metamorphic changes, and those are called as the load metamorphism, that is because of the load, so they are called as load metamorphism. So this is a very weak type of metamorphism. So this type of metamorphism is called as dynamic, or it is also called as cataclysmic metamorphism. So what is dynamic or cataclysmic metamorphism? All those metamorphic changes in which the pressure is a dominating agent of metamorphism, and temperature and chemically active fluids, they play a secondary role. So here there is one more word called dynamo metamorphism or dynamothermal. So the name itself tells you that dynamo means pressure and thermal is the heat. So what is dynamothermal metamorphism? This is the most important type of all the type of metamorphism, and it causes a widespread regional metamorphic changes. They affect a larger area. So this is due to the cooperation of both the directed pressure as well as the heat or the temperature. So the heat what it will do? Heat will facilitate the recrystallization of the minerals, but the stress, the pressure which is acting, that will only promote that will not only promote the recrystallization, but also along with the recrystallization, it is a powerful in deforming the rock. The change in the shape, the deformation is what? Change in the shape. So along with the recrystallization of minerals, here it will promote also the deforming of the rock. The rock deformation take place, and this will produce new structures in the rock. So the new parallel textures or the structures, they are usually oriented perpendicular to the direction of the greatest stress which is acting on the rocks, and they are parallel to that of the minimum stress. So the production of cyst and the gneiss, that is usually because of the dynamothermal metamorphism. In the next slide I'll show you how the gneiss and cyst will look like. So that is because of the effect of both temperature and pressure, that is the dynamothermal metamorphism. Then there is one more called plutonic metamorphism. Plutonic, here word stands for at a great depth. We have seen the igneous rocks. What are plutonic igneous rocks? The rocks which are formed at great depth. Similarly, plutonic metamorphism is generally it will show the changes in the rock at great depth below the earth's surface, where the high temperature and the static pressure are dominating. Then it is called as plutonic metamorphism. So the metamorphism is caused by the two factors. Then it is called as the temperature and the static pressure is active. Then it is called as plutonic metamorphism. So as the influence of directed pressure is most feeble in this type of metamorphism, usually the orientation of the parallel structures, they are more common in such type of metamorphism. So directed pressure, okay, is more dominating. Okay, so the formation of anti-stress minerals of small volume and high density, this type of minerals or changes are favored in these type of conditions, but there is no texture or structure, new structure is seen in the plutonic metamorphism. Then the last type of metamorphism, that is a metasomatism. So what is metasomatism? This type of thermal metamorphism in which the liquid or the gases at high temperature, they attack the surrounding rocks, and they induce certain metamorphic changes in the rocks on which it is acting. And when the rocks are attacked by chemically active fluids or the solutions, then it is called as hydrothermal. When the fluids are active, then in changing the rock, then it is called as hydrothermal metamorphism. And when the chemically active gases are active or the vapors are active, then the such type of change, okay, that is called as the pneumatolytic metamorphism. So these are the different types of metamorphism which play a very important role in bringing out the changes in the rocks. So the different structures are present or formed in the rocks which are already existing. So here are the few examples of metamorphic rocks, which is the first one is gneiss. Okay, so gneiss is a metamorphic rock which is formed by the effect of temperature and pressure on granite. So we know the granite is a igneous rock, right? So when this igneous rocks, you can see the in granite, the minerals which are present, they are arranged like this. In the image it is shown like they are not arranged in a specific manner. They are haphazardly placed, but when it undergoes high temperature and pressure, what change you can see? Here you can observe it is forming a banded structure. Here it is clearly seen, right? So there are alternate bands of light and dark colored minerals. So here the minerals which are present in granite, the dark colored minerals, they come together, and the light colored minerals, they form one band. So that is because of the effect of directed pressure and temperature on the rock. So granite is a igneous rock, and the gneiss is the metamorphic rock which is formed by the metamorphism of granite. So this is one example. So this type of structure is called as gneiss structure. What is gneiss? Alternate bands of light and dark colored minerals. So that is called as gneiss structure. So this is a gneiss rock. Then next is the marble, which is a very famous rock. The Taj Mahal, which is one of the 7 wonders, that is constructed in marble. So how this marble is formed? It is a metamorphic rock which is formed by the metamorphism of limestone. So we know the limestone is a sedimentary rock, and a rock which is formed by limestone, when it undergoes recrystallization which is caused by heat, then this forms the rock called marble. So here the change in the mineral arrangement takes place, and the recrystallization of the minerals take place, and the rock converts into marble. So this is how the marble is formed, because of the effect of metamorphism on the limestone. Then the next rock, which is a quartzite. So quartz, the name itself tells you that it is a sand. Quartz is nothing but the sand, and because of the action of temperature or heat and the pressure, this sandstone, that is a sedimentary rock, so this sedimentary rock undergoes metamorphism and it forms a new rock that is called as quartzite. So this marble and quartzite, they both show granulose structure. Granulose structure. So what is that granulose structure? Granulose structure is due to the predominance of equidimensional minerals like quartz, feldspar or calcite, okay, in a metamorphic rock. So here they looks like grains or granulose. Why it is called as granulose? If you observe under microscope, you will find well-rounded grains like. So that is called as granulose structure. So both marble and quartzite, they show granulose structure. Then next type of rock is slate, okay, which is formed by metamorphism of shale. So here shale is a sedimentary rock which undergoes metamorphism to form the slate. So the special property of slate is it shows slaty cleavages. Slate is a rock which we use as a slate or a blackboard, right? The other name for slate is Kadapa. Kadapa is a region in the Andhra Pradesh wherein you get this rock, that is a slate. So slate is also called as Kadapa, which we use, which is a very thick. When it is thick bedded, then it is used in your kitchen kattas, or it is used as floorings, then even it is used as tabletops, okay. So this Kadapa or the slate, okay, and if it is thin, that is used in the slates, on which we write, right? Or in the blackboards it is used. So then this slate, which is a metamorphic rock, okay, and this metamorphic rock again further undergoes metamorphism to form a new rock called phyllite. So shale converts to slates and then it converts to phyllite, or there are chances that shale can directly convert to phyllite. So this depends upon again all the agents of metamorphism, that is temperature, pressure and chemically active fluids. Then the one more type of rock, that is a schist. Schist shows schistose structure. So what is that schistose? The platy and flaky minerals, they are elongated minerals are seen in the rock, that is called as the schist, which is a very important metamorphic rock. So the different metamorphic rocks are the gneiss, quartzite, marble, slate and schist. So these are the different metamorphic rocks. So what is the importance of these metamorphic rocks? So they can be divided into foliated and non-foliated types. So here there is no such classification big. They are classified into only two, foliated and non-foliated. Foliated means layered, okay, and non-foliated means the layering is not seen. So this is determined by the presence of the minerals which are present in the rocks and how they are aligned, okay, whether they are parallel to each other, okay. So this results in the layered appearance and they are called as foliated. And a non-foliated metamorphic rock, they are consisting of usually the equidimensional grains like marble, quartzite, and they are the non-foliated metamorphic rocks, okay. And these rocks or a rock can also be identified by its grade of metamorphism, how much it has undergone or effect, what is the effect, to up to what level these rocks have undergone the effect of metamorphism. So this is simply a description of the overall intensity of metamorphism of rock that was subjected to, and this implies that the grade of the metamorphism which shows the different structures or textures and the mineralogical evidences, okay. So they are that will tell us the grade of metamorphism, whether they are subjected to high temperature pressure or low temperature pressure. So that is the classification of metamorphic rock. They are classified into foliated and non-foliated type of metamorphic rocks. So these metamorphic rocks, they are used as a building stone, like marble you have seen, then quartzites, okay. All these are used for construction, okay, activities, like they are used as foundation stone, building stone, road metal, concrete aggregate, okay. So all these are the uses of metamorphic rocks. Then slate is used as blackboard, slates, okay. So this is how we are associated with the metamorphic rocks. So with this, the petrology chapter is over. In the next class, we will start with geomorphology. Thank you.